Hey folks, just a quick word from me until we get to today's show. Now, originally this show was recorded with the idea of putting it out after the actual anniversary cast, but due to some not really technical issues, just a interesting happy accident, this ended up being far in excess of what we were going to do for uh, any one particular episode. And so, because of that, what we decided to do was to go ahead and put this out on the anniversary, along this, like I said, just quick forward from me here. I do hope you guys enjoy it. We did not pair it with a give no quarter on purpose. Wanted to let you all just kind of experience this as it is a throwback episode, if you will, in style, where we go back to the original Words Don't Do It Justice podcast format with a full panel, including myself, newcomer Julien Hemmendinger, of course, classic guest Jaime McNair, of course, my former WRATH of Ruthless co-host and former Wednesday writer, Words Don't Do It Justice, Rain, and of course the third founder, Roddi P. We're talking about relationships. We're talking about a very interesting video as well, and like I said, we thought it might be an enjoyable thing for you all to check out, and I ended up deciding to go ahead and do this on its own without adding a give no quarter before it, and without doing it after the anniversary. Instead, giving you all this wonderful piece before we get started. I do want to thank all of my guests again for coming on the show. I want to thank you all for listening. And of course, I could keep talking more and more about what's coming up for the anniversary celebration, but words don't do it justice. All right, folks, take care, and we will talk to you all next time. Hey folks, welcome back. I am the Ruthless Wonder, not A Ruthless Wonder, and you are listening to The Wrath of Ruthless. Now, I do want to, of course, talk to you guys about today's show. It is different than what you're used to. Uh, yeah, I'm happy. It's a great day. It is, of course, the anniversary of Words Don't Do It Justice. On March 4th, of course, was the opening piece for our illustrious blog. It has been 4 years. Of course, we shut down the physical blog site to focus on the podcast. Um, Really a big change that came with a lot for all of us here at 314 Publishing. I want to, of course, thank everybody who's ever worked with us, and of course, all of you who read us and now listen to us here on the podcast. Um, Today's show is going to comprise a number of different things. We're going to try and get a very uh, interesting roadmap, if you will, for what's going on from the entire anniversary week. But first up, we're going to have a uh, quick give no quarter, and then right on into the big segment for today, which is a classic Words Don't Do It Justice segment. We're going to go ahead and do a whole bit on relationships, not necessarily just who you're dating, why you're dating them, but more, uh, what if we were just radically honest about everything we want when we initially meet people? There was a great Crack.com series that started called People Watching, and their first episode really dealt with radical honesty in the dating sphere. And I thought that was a really good topic for us to kind of talk about. And yes, I did say classic Words Don't Do It Justice podcast style. So we've got a full panel. We're going to have them all talk. And before we get to that, of course, want to give a quick shout out to our friends and sponsors. And of course, move into give no quarter before we do that. So I'm going to talk to you guys just on the other side. But before I get out of here, I do want to kind of talk to you guys about what's going on for the entire anniversary. We have a really big founders cast with myself and Roddi P and Ronan coming up throughout throughout anniversary week. We also have a podcast with myself and some of our previous writers. We're just going to sit down, talk to them, see what they're up to, see what they're working on. Of course, um, just kind of reflect a little bit over the old days, just kind of have some conversations. They're really casual. We're doing this whole casual thing right now for the anniversary, but I promise you, every one of these really good stuff. We're gonna keep going, and unlike years past, the anniversary is actually going to go all the way through my birthday with content. So you're going to hear from us. You're going to hear from some of our friends. You're going to hear from some of our former writers and hosts and whatnot, but we're going to keep going all the way through. There's going to be tons of stuff to talk about, and yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff to just kind of chill and relax with, and you guys will really be, I think, impressed with what we've kind of gone over. We got a lot of robust content for you, and when we're done, some surprises that probably you aren't expecting right now that I'm talking about. So I look forward to you guys checking all of our content out. Hopefully, you guys enjoy it. And, well, we'll see you on the other side. But like I said, we'll be right back after quick message from both of our sponsors, and then right into a little give no quarter before we do a Words Don't Do It Justice podcast style segment for you all. So take care. I am the Ruthless Wonder, not a Ruthless Wonder, and you are listening to The Wrath of Ruthless. See you on the other side.
Tax time doesn't have to be stressful. You want to know what it feels like to be stress free? Call the professionals at SJC Financial Solutions. We can provide you with professional and experienced staff, electronic filing, individual and business tax returns. We provide bookkeeping, payroll, IRS collection representation. You can reach us at 800-542-1393, or you can log on to www.yourtaxremedy.com. That is yourtaxremedy.com. We are an authorized e-file provider, and we are IRS enrolled agents. Again, tax time doesn't have to be stressful. Know what it's like to be stress-free. Call SJC Financial Solutions. Mention this ad and get a 10% discount.
Hey, folks, welcome back to The Wrath of Ruthless. I am joined here briefly by a very interesting new friend, we'll put it that way. How about that? But as you know, I like to bring on folks from time to time to talk about the interesting stuff they're doing. And this time, I'm bringing on somebody who sent me a very cool replacement for let's say a bracelet that I've been wearing for quite some time. But I'm gonna have him tell you more about it here first. So, Don, you there?
Yes, I am.
How you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How's it going?
Going pretty good. So, tell us first what it is that you make for folks and sell on Etsy.
Well, what it is, it's different paracord accessories. For those that may not be familiar with paracord, it's a military grade parachute cord that they actually use in the military for their parachutes. And the thing about it is, it's a very versatile fabric. It's light, it's strong, it's durable, it's functional, and it's also fashionable. And I'm sure you can attest to that.
Of course. So, tell us how you kind of got into it. Of course, a little bit about yourself as well.
Well, I I grew up in New Orleans, lived in Baton Rouge for a while. I live in the Houston area in Texas. About a year and a half ago, uh, it's kind of weird. I started getting these. I don't know if you've heard of like Loot Crate and Geek Fuel and all those different like loot boxes.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, well, I had a subscription, and every month there's a theme, and the theme was espionage, and I got all these spy related things, and one of the things in it was a paracord bracelet, and I'm thinking to myself, man, what is this? Why is there a bracelet, in my box? you know. So I looked at it and I started doing a little research. They had a little YouTube video of how versatile it actually is. and they kind of went into the different uses for it. So I watched the video. They kind of demonstrated how to make them as well as the different uses. Let's say you're somewhere and you need shoelaces. You can undo your bracelet if need be and tie your shoelaces. Or if you're somewhere where you need to, let's say you have to like tie a tourniquet or um do something to where, let's say you're out in the wilderness, and this is where the versatile part comes in. If you're in the wilderness and uh, you have to like pitch a tent, but you don't have any string to pitch the tent, you can use the paracord to pitch a tent. So
So
I
it's
mean, it can
extremely versatile what it can be used for.
absolutely.
Now, obviously, mine is very near and dear to my heart. It's got my glorious Chiefs on there.
Yeah.
But uh, do you make them for particular special occasions? Are there any limits as to what people can buy for?
Um, I make them for a lot of different things. The good thing about it is, like I said, it's very versatile. You can fashion it into a bracelet if you want, a keychain, a lanyard. You can do it for your favorite team, your school, your profession, something you're proud of, like a milestone. I mean, if you have something you want to show to other people and kind of carry it around as something dear to you that you would like to share with others as well, it's absolutely something that you can get and I can custom make for you. I mean, anything you can pretty much think of as far as a theme or a character or your sorority or fraternity, an event, anything like that, I can custom make for you and have that image for you on this bracelet or keychain or a dog collar, dog leash, belts, watch bands. If your watch band breaks, I can make a new watch band. Literally anything you can think of, we can make for you.
Now, see, that's the one that I'm probably going to end up needing as well here in the future. I am super bad on watch bands, man. It's
Mhm.
horrible.
Yeah.
I think I've replaced. I have this one watch that I kind of got popular. I have a old school big face watch, so
Yeah.
and I have busted so many watch bands on it because if it
Mhm.
moves around too much, those things will snap off pretty
Yeah.
fast.
Wear and tear.
Yeah, yeah. So I love it. Of course, now folks are watching the show. They're seeing the photos of my bracelet
Hmm.
that I got, of course, on the screen right now.
Hmm.
So, what's the easiest way to get a hold of you and know when you're producing some or how to make a custom order?
The easiest thing to do is go right to my Etsy page. It's practicalparacords.etsy.com. Once again, it's practicalparacords.etsy.com. You can go on there, see everything I have. And if you want to have something custom made, you just click the little contact button right under my name and my happy little picture, and you can talk directly to me and we can get together anything you would like to have. And also, if also you would also like to look at just some pictures of what I have, you can go on Instagram, type hashtag practical paracords. All my stuff will pop up on there. That's the easiest way to do it. Or you can go on Facebook at practical paracords.
Well, it's really straightforward to get a hold of you. Um, just for folks that aren't on the website right now, or maybe you're listening to our audio version, what's the general cost in picking up a piece?
Well, it varies. If you're looking at something like a keychain, it's right around $6.50. If you're looking for something more of like a personalized bracelet, it's right around 13 bucks, depending on what you get. If you want further customization, it may be a little more. If you want something a little bit more simpler, it'll be a little bit less, but roughly around $13.
And as far as shipping, gift boxes, stuff like that, can that all be discussed whenever you guys get a hold of? whenever people get a hold of you over the Etsy page?
Yeah, absolutely. For the most part, it's going to be your standard first class U.S. Postal Service shipping. But like I said, I can always make a special accommodation depending on what it is you want. So anything is up in the air as far as what you want and what we can discuss.
Well, great. So I guess the last question is: are there any particular special ones coming up that you're willing to share with us, or anything else you want to let folks know about?
I do want to bring up just two things real quick. One, um, I forgot to mention as far as things that may be something you would like. Um, there's also I also offer a bottle opener that you can clip onto your belt. I know a lot of people out there like to tailgate, so that's makes it very convenient for you to tailgate. You got your beer, you can pop it right open. You don't have to look for a bottle opener. Or if it's too cold to pop your can open, you can use the back of the bottle opener to pop your can open. Um, and last but not
There you
least,
go.
like I said, if you want to check it out, go right to practicalparacords.etsy.com, or you can find all my photos on Instagram. Just type in hashtag practical paracords, or you can find me on Facebook at practical paracords.
Hey, folks, I am the Ruthless Wonder, not A Ruthless Wonder, and you are back on the Wrath of Ruthless. And it's time for Words Don't Do It Justice. I know, it's an important day. We've talked about the anniversary enough at this point. I want to get us into a really cool topic. And, like we used to do, I brought some friends along. First up, the third part of the initial three founders of Words Don't Do It Justice. Gerard, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Hi, everybody. Everybody
It's been a
ready
long
for
time,
us
man.
to yeah, it's been a while, man. I disappear every now and then and come back.
Yeah, of
Get some
course, we would
things.
have had another one way before this, but for some reason things acted up in Vegas.
I remember that, and we still didn't figure out what it was.
Yeah, exactly. So good to have you back, brother. Good
Didn't
to
we
have you
like go
back.
buy? Didn't we literally like go buy brand new batteries and boards, and it still didn't work? We didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, yeah, we did. I ended up just tossing out that mic cable and buying a new one. So next up, you know her, you love her. She was ruthless on Wednesdays, but the voice that made it work in the original Wrath of Ruthless podcast, and of course, holding down Wednesdays on Words Don't Do It Justice. Rain, welcome back.
It is so good to be back. So good to be back.
We've
Thank you.
missed you. How is the official pup of Words Don't Do It Justice doing?
He is fine. He's finally calming down again.
Awesome, awesome. Now, folks, I got a special treat here. These other two guests, yes, we have two more. These other two guests, one of which she is returning for her. Is it three now or is it two now? I think it might be two now. For her second time on Words Don't Do It Justice. Jaime, how you doing?
Good. Yeah, this is the second time. The last time was years ago, actually.
Yeah, yeah, way
Maybe
back
2 or
in
3 years ago.
yeah the old format, man. Oh, right. And our last guest. Now, I've saved him for last for good reason. Uh, you can find him on Saturdays on the Midnight Chat Attack. You can find him making fun of idiots on the internet at all times. You can find him praising the Fast One on Twitter and Facebook. You can find his movie, Monkey with a Gun, coming soon to a festival near you. If they would go ahead and accept this man, come on, Julien, how you doing, brother?
Damn, I feel so important now. Like, you just made me sound so good. Like, I won't say anything, but yeah, listen to Ruthless. Isn't that guy smart?
So, of course, this is your first time. I'm glad to finally be able to get you on for something. But tell folks a little bit about yourself real quick, because they know these other three fairly well, but they don't know you, man. Talk about yourself real quick.
Yeah, I'm really excited to pop my ruthless cherry. I am a graduate from York University, to say the boring stuff. I graduated with a degree in film, not film production. Yeah, I'm an actor and a professional loser, and I'm here to do the entertaining.
Well,
There you go.
So I know what you're wondering. What in the world do I have these four joining me to talk about? All right. I don't always talk about crack.com, even though I read them basically at least once a day. But they started this new series called People Watching. And in People Watching, they have this really good video. Now, we're going to put this video into the YouTube version. So SoundCloud, I'm sorry, you will not get to actually see it, but we'll put a link in the description for this episode. But it's about why speed dating is terrible. And I want you guys to take a look real quick and just tell me your thoughts, what you guys think in the comments, of course. But it's a really good video. It has a very interesting idea in it. So we're going to watch that real quick.
So tell me about yourself.
I'm really lonely, but I'm worried the more desperate you are, the less attractive that makes you, so it's kind of a... yeah.
So where did you grow up?
Hey, how's it going? Never really done this kind of thing before.
I have. I've done it way too many goddamn times. I'm about at the point where I want to just start masturbating under the table while maintaining eye contact just to see if anyone notices.
I see.
Sorry. I'm just jaded. You do these events and you meet the same people over and over, or rather you don't meet them because everyone's generically trying to appeal to the largest number of people and it just feels so pointless.
Sorry? Why come then?
Because the people I meet at work are the worst, and because approaching a stranger in a bar is just prejudice and a flowery typeface.
I sure wouldn't date anyone where I work. What do you...
Stripper. Not because it was the only avenue for me or because I just needed to pay for school, but because I genuinely like being naked in front of large groups of people despite the cognitive dissonance of that situation necessitating the kind of audience that immorally thinks the human body is inherently taboo.
You sure are, forthcoming.
You sure are still talking to me because a certain level of conventional beauty mitigates an equal level of craziness. Look, compatibility is based off specificity, right? So tonight I thought I'd be as specific as possible as a shortcut to eliminating everyone who's not a good match. So you've got all your potential matches, right? And then either I can say, hi, my name is Joan, and I took economics in school, and I really like movies, and I believe you've already met my giant rack. And then I'm gonna be here all goddamn night. Or I can say, hi, my stage name is Candy, and don't you hate it when you're sliding naked down a pole in front of the kind of businessmen who are ruining the country, and one of them throws a 5 and someone used a Sharpie to make the guy in the bill, I don't know his name, look like Spock, and you have to fight not to burst into laughter in the middle of your twerk routine because it would humanize you, and that's worse for business in a way that your cellulite only dreams of. And yes, I just narrowed the dating field down to people with a stripper fetish. But hopefully, there's also a couple people who heard the nuances of what I was saying, or the way I was saying it, or even my willingness to say it, and regardless of my career choices, something fundamentally resonated. Which is who you want to be dating. Thus, radical honesty. I mean, it's supposed to be speed dating, right? This just makes it like warp speed dating.
That was probably something to it. I mean, basically all I heard there were the 2 references to Star Trek, so right on, eh?
My favorite series is Voyager.
So what kind of music you like?
Oh, I don't know. I like stuff from a bunch of different genres, I guess.
Wow, risky strategy, that's for sure.
Is it though? If I tell every potential date that I think the criminal justice system should be restructured so that multiple accusations of sexual assault against one individual are classified as evidence and the high percentage of convictions introduced by this fundamental change would outweigh the small number of false convictions, then I'm weeding out entire groups. People who think sexual assault is no big deal. People who hate women with opinions. People who hate new ideas. People who can't handle differences of opinion. Or even just people who think I'm an idiot because they have the experience to know better. And so who's left? Sociopaths who don't listen to what I'm saying regardless of what it is because to them I'm just Barbie with shorter legs. But then also people who appreciate either my sentiment or my motivations. You whittle it down. You're still here, so which group are you?
The too polite to leave until the 7 minutes are up, even though staying when you don't like the person isn't really polite? Group?
Ah, right. Them too.
What do you like to do?
Oh, I like traveling and food festivals.
And live music.
But not country.
And I like drinks with friends and
Taking photos. Like, I kind of want to
Be a photographer, maybe.
And I also like staying in.
staying in and just chilling sometimes. But like whatever works, I guess.
Oh, me too. We have so much in common, eh?
What do I like to do? I don't know. Watch YouTube videos about Russian prisons or people who died doing BDSM, and then either half-heartedly masturbate or read shitty 80s sci-fi paperbacks, or both at once until one becomes more engrossing than the other, but either way, kills 3 hours. You don't want to finish too fast. It's supposed to be about the journey, right? Yourself?
Cooking?
Yeah, I just eat hot dogs and shit. I figured the time you save by not cooking will roughly equal the extra years you'd live if you spent that time preparing actually healthy meals, so it's a zero-sum game. Or I just don't give a shit because I'm vain as fuck, and when I'm old and ugly I won't want to live anyway. I forget which. Next.
You're trying what now?
Just being, like, really specific instead of general, I guess. You know when you see a couple and you ask him, oh, what do you like about her? And he's like, well, she's so beautiful, instead of naming an actual personality trait. And then eventually there's someone's miserable grandparents. Like, the opposite of that, I guess. Radical honesty, maybe? I'm weird and alone, and I figured I'd try and be upfront about basically everything and hopefully find someone who likes those differences, kind of thing.
So I'm guessing that's why the first thing you said was,
Yeah, that's why I'm leading off with, hi, my name is Jeremy and I'm a virgin. I'm completely sex positive, though. I mean, I've never been in space, but I'm definitely pro-astronaut.
But that's like so risky.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're obviously horrified, but for someone who wasn't, these 7 minutes would be flying past.
Instead of not.
I don't know. It's like I can date someone and wish they were a certain way, or I can just say, hi, I'm looking for someone who thinks that 2 people reading quietly counts as doing something together, and then maybe actually find someone who thinks that. You only need to be attractive to one person, right?
Yeah, totally.
How's it going?
Bad. Horrible. Oh my god. Holy fuck! Why was I born? The shame! I'm bald! I'm bald! Good. Yourself?
That seems risky. Don't you think you're giving people too big of a hurdle?
Oh, I know. You can go best foot forward to get yourself in the door, after which it's easier to have your quirks overlooked once they emerge. Or you can do the opposite, where in bait and switch is impossible, but then you're faced with the possible condition that you have insufficient bait to catch anyone. I guess I'm just theorizing that whatever idiosyncrasy sits alone in one's Pandora's box is enough to attract someone fundamentally compatible.
Plus, the longer they're inside the door, the harder it is to break up with them, even if they're entirely wrong for you, eh?
Well, exactly. See, you get it. God, I wish I was gay.
I know, me too. All right, I should get back in there. Nice meeting you, actually.
Godspeed.
So tell me about yourself.
You know what? It's like this. I'm super nice, but I can be unavailable for weeks at a time due to anxiety and depression, so whoever I end up with has to believe that the good times make the bad times worth it. I'm just gonna lead off with that.
Okay, then. No, you know what? Seriously. Thanks for being so upfront. That's really cool, actually.
Thanks.
You just have to forget about the awkwardness of failing. The system objectively doesn't work, so you change the system.
Oh god, you're one of them. Do I even dare ask who you think should pay on the first date?
The restaurant should pay, because they principally make money off alcohol, so promotion where you let first daters eat for free would be a fun way to get business and publicity while also helping out a bunch of nervous young people who have enough to worry about and who are probably broke anyway.
That is actually not bad.
What's on your mind?
I'm really sick of feeling like a weirdo outsider when I don't deserve to. It's the assholes who should feel like they don't matter. It's the racist pieces of shit who don't belong. They're the ones who should feel like society isn't for them. They're the ones who should be wallowing in self-doubt and alienation. I'm sick of good people feeling bad and bad people feeling good. That's what's on my mind.
Fuck. Good answer.
Radical honesty? Fine. I secretly want to find someone who's into watching bullfighting as much as I am. See? And now you're horrified.
Yeah, but if I wasn't horrified to the core of my being right now, this would be a huge moment for you, right? Focus on that.
You know what? Fuck it. I like 2 things. The beach and pegging. I like 2 things. The beach and pegging. I like 2 things. The beach and pegging. I like 2 things. The beach and pegging.
Oh my god, really?
But even if honesty doesn't work, it's about the journey, you know? You put yourself out there in a risky way, and yeah, you get a predictable amount of stares, but you also learn a lot about yourself just saying stuff out loud and hearing how it sounds and realizing that you agree with yourself. You weren't just thinking it.
And it's nice.
Hi guys, I'm Natalia. I play Candy on People Watching. You can go check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/subnormality. And
Okay, folks, so you can see what I mean. Like, it's an interesting video. Oh, it takes a few minutes. I think, what was it, 5 or 6 minutes? Really good stuff, really good story. I like the entire idea of it, and it came to this very interesting question that I had, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. With how casual sex and dating have become, as well as how normalized infidelity is in today's society, it brings me to this question. Would it be better for everyone if we were just radically honest, like Candy and I forget the redheaded guy's name, in the video are telling about ourselves, our backgrounds, the weird things we're into, just up front from the very beginning. I hate to say first date, but really just first true conversation. Uh, if we were just more radically honest about all those things and just stopped hoping to change each other and kind of started looking for the person that we actually should be with. Uh, think of it like this. You only have to be attracted to one person, the right person. So wouldn't it be better to just start eliminating the people that are not that right person for you? Now, that doesn't mean that that right person doesn't change in life, obviously, but would it just be better if we just cut through all of the other pieces and just kind of got right to it? So I brought the four of them along to kind of talk about this. So I'm going to give, before I bring my trademark ruthless, villainous, impressions to the particular subject, I'm going to go with, of course, my wonderful panel. And we're going to start with the first, the empress of words don't do it justice herself. Rain, what were your initial thoughts?
Yes. Yes. 1,000 times yes. Like, no, honestly, actually, I've written some pieces on the folly of dishonesty and duplicity and lying out your ass for no reason. Like, I feel like if we got rid of this whole concept of the representative, we'd all be better off. Because really, when you start off with just this not real version of yourself, this supposed best version of you, and then you come out with the real version of you, then you want to get mad when the person's like, yeah, that's not what I signed up for. It's not fair. Like, I want to be able to start out like the one chick, I don't even know what her name was, but I was like, that's me. Because she was like, yeah, I'm really just depressed and I have this, that, and the third, and I just need somebody who can deal with the fact that, when I am around, I'm awesome. That is me. When I'm here, totally awesome. But I do need to disappear from time to time because people just get on my nerves. That's kind of a great thing. Why can't I start out that way? Because people want to be lied to. It's a terrible, terrible thing. I want to just be able to be honest. We should be able to just be honest. Yep, that's where I stand on it.
I like it. Straightforward to the point. Jaime, what about you? What do you think?
I knew you were going to come to me. I somewhat agree, just be honest. I'm kind of at that point where I just pretty much say like who I am straight up. And if they don't like it, they don't like it. If they do, awesome. But at the same time, like some people have some really weird like habits. I don't really want to know about those until I like you yet, because once I like you, then I'm like, that's okay. Oh, he doesn't, I don't know. What do guys do that's really weird? Oh, he tends to like always miss the trash can when he's trying to throw stuff away. It's like, if he tells me that up front, I'm like, oh, that's kind of gross. Put your trash away. But if I get to know him and I like him, then I'm like, oh, it's okay. I'll just pick it up. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's like a really thin line there.
So if he shouts Kobe and misses, but goes to pick it up afterwards, is that okay?
Then I'm like, he's kind of lame, but yeah, it's cute. It's cute.
Sorry, when you said weird stuff, the first thing I thought of was the guy in there that was like, I'm gonna be radically honest. I like two things: the beach and pegging. I was like,
right.
He tried that like 3 times.
Yeah, but the last one seemed to be into it. So hey, go for yours. All right, we're gonna save Gerard for last here. Julia, man, what did you think?
Well, like I agree with most of what's been said, honestly. Like it honestly depends like what that person who you're talking to is coming to that conversation looking for. Like if they're looking to just get laid, then that's a seed that they're going to plant. Like if they're looking to actually have a serious, relationship with that person, then they'll address it differently. Like it's all about just being honest, just being yourself, just, like you want to wear that, wear that. Just do what you got to do to be you.
That's fair. What I mean, but what about that you just brought up? What about the idea that it's honest to say, yeah, look, I'm just here because I want to sleep with you.
I think that's too direct, and that's how you ruin the opportunity. Not to sound like a scumbag or anything,
Well,
but
yeah.
like it's one of those things where like you need to like treat everyone with respect, and you don't know where everyone's line is. So if you're gonna cross that line, you got to be ready for someone to be like, "Yo, you crossed the line, fuck off." Like you gotta know what you're doing when you say something like that.
True, very true. If we were all that radically honest, even about our intentions, it would no longer be an issue. But yeah, I can see what you're saying.
But say like both people are on that level. What's the point of continuing to talk? Like it's like, all right, let's just go then. Like, I mean, we're on the same page here.
Yeah,
which is why you should just say it.
See.
Well, at the same time, like maybe you think you're looking for one thing, but then you talk to them, and then it's like, oh, maybe I want a little bit more.
Yeah, then you might not realize that you wanted more until you actually take the little time instead of just jumping into them like, hey, you, what's up? And then, then that's it. But maybe if you get to know them a little bit and you're like, wait, there's a little bit more there.
Yeah, because it's easy to be like,
but what if you get to know them a little bit and you think there's more there, and then it turns out, no, should have just hit it and quit.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. And on that particular note, I gotta bring in the man, the myth, the legend, Roddi P. What's up, man? What do you think?
Oh man, there's two sides to this. Okay. Two sides. The honesty portion of it, obviously, you want to be honest. I mean, regardless of whatever it may be, but sometimes people don't ask the right questions, and then sometimes guys don't think it's relevant until it happens. Like, so for example, like now if you meet him and you ask him, what do you do for work? And he lies, oh, where do you stay? Where do you drive? Stuff like that. And then he lies, stuff like that. That's different. But just sitting across the table from somebody or meeting somebody and like, hey, I like you, you like me, but just to let you know, if we ever took a shower together, I may fart. You know what I mean? It's like, maybe we should have saved that until I liked you. I feel like the point of getting to know people is, it's not accepting 100% who you are when I meet you because I don't know you. It's just that by the time I get to know the full you, I like you or love you enough to accept it. So it's two sides. The brutally honest side, I feel like will be a lot of swing and a miss. But when you find that one person, it might be it. Like it might be, the person that you stay with for a long time or forever. And then on the other side, the gradually blah, 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 you just accept the fact that you may time a lot. Which is honestly.
That's fair. Since we're gonna get to me now, I have to say my thought process is being radically honest in the conversation. Not necessarily always a situation of you saying, all right, I need to, how to put this? Not necessarily saying, that's what it is. I'm not necessarily saying like, all right, I like these things. I like this way. I'm only here because you look hot and I want to fuck you. Like, not necessarily going that full bore, but saying like, look, I'm not really looking for a relationship. I'm looking for somebody to hang out with and maybe randomly we have sex. Or I'm, like Shay was talking about earlier, like I'm I'm not always going to be around, but when I'm around, it's going to be awesome. Like, I think that that's still honest in a way that we aren't necessarily honest in dating, but it's fair, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, it seems more fair to me to take that approach of I'm not gonna tell you every single part of my life story, but I am gonna be honest about why I'm here on this date with you. I am gonna be honest about what I really want out of meeting you, and go from there. You know, I think that I think that's a better way of doing things, especially now. And here, that's what really brought me to this entire idea of this question. We're in a situation where basically anything you want to know about a person's background is going to get found unless they're one of those weird people with absolutely no social media whatsoever. Like, you're going to know at least a little bit about the person you're dating if they leave themselves open to be, looked for. And so that brings us to kind of the first digression here. Is the old model of the first date is your representative of yourself, not necessarily your real self, becoming outdated because we have so much access to each other? And I actually, yeah, Roddy, hop in, man. Go for it.
So I think, it comes. Well, social media kind of ruins everything, honestly. May meet somebody, get their number, and then you get on Facebook and it says, "Oh, you may know this person. It's the person you just got their number because your phone is connected to their Facebook." And you go to their Facebook, you see they got 3 kids, and this and that, and blah blah blah. Like, that kind of ruins the whole conversation that you would have with them. I mean, it saves you some time sometimes, but like I said, most of the time, I sit down and think to myself, you know what I mean? What can I tell this person? You know what I mean? That they may have a problem with, unless it's extremely important. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like, so if we're sitting there talking, unless the conversation comes up, it just doesn't think to me to say, hey, I may sleep naked, or hey, I may do this, like, off the rip. I don't think about it. Now, if we get into that conversation, then, however that happens, then I can understand me not saying it. And then, you know what I mean? The whole straightforward thing, as far as like what you're expecting, I feel like that should happen. It's just some of the more extreme things you save until someone likes you. Like, you know what I mean? Just the important things that make you you. Do you have kids? Maybe you like weird shows, or maybe you play video games all day, and you know what I mean? Whatever the case may be, like, those things maybe should come out first. But you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, it's some things is just like, I don't know. Like, just wait until it happens. Wait until it happens before you explain or have to go into details about it, just because it saves. I mean, let's see how I can put it. We all know someone in our life that, if we knew they were as weird as they were when we met them, like, knew everything we know about them now, then they probably wouldn't be in our lives. But it was the fact that gradually I went through things with each other. Yeah, showed support. Yeah, got the loyalty is 200% and all this other things, and yeah, really mesh and benefit each other's lives. Now, if he says whatever, or she says whatever off the wall, now you can be like, hey, you know what I mean? I mean, okay, I'm like, first you probably laugh about it, compared to you not saying anything, or you giving them an awkward look and be like, I pass on you. You know what I mean? Everybody has something about them that will make the majority of people look at them like the side eye.
Yeah, I know that story all too well. Julien, you wanted to hop in there, man. Go for it.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what you said that made me think this, but when you go on a date with someone, like, the way I look at it is, like, no matter what, like, whether you're trying to have sex with them or you're trying to get into a relationship with them, you're trying to get something from them. And in a way, you're selling yourself to them. And that's all it is. And they need to, quote unquote, want to buy you. So, like, I mean, first of all, if you're lying about, the car you drive, where you live, and your job, you're doing it just to get laid, and that's a totally different thing. But if you're honestly going out there to meet people, like, just be yourself, have a conversation about things that you like, because you don't need to be like, yeah, I like these things. If you start talking about them, it's like, oh, clearly, he loves that. Like, if I went on a date with someone Ruthless and I was like, man, have you seen this anime called Keijo? It's sick. It's about these chicks who fight with their booty. It's like, oh, so this guy's fucking insane. Okay, now I know that. Like, we can infer a lot of things from, like, the things that we tell each other and how we say them to each other. Like, I'm a very, I don't know what the right word for it is, like, extra person. So, like, I'm always moving around my hands, changing my voice, and, like, saying silly shit. But, like, that's just who I am, and I wouldn't change that, to, like, censor myself in a way, like talking to someone. Like, I really feel like the best way is to spill the beans, but don't, like, stick a spoon in there scooping them out. Just spill the beans, man. Just do it.
Jaime, you wanted to get a point of view?
Yeah, I did. It was going back to something that was said about some things you just need to know up front and some things you can kind of wait on. Like, if I'm going on a date with a male, obviously a man, I'm a heterosexual. If I'm going on a date with a male and,
entire lesbian audience, I know you guys don't love Jaime. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, ladies. I think you're all beautiful, but, I go the other way. But anyway, so, I have all these, like, sayings to my grandma, like, don't ever date this kind of guy, don't ever date that kind of guy. So, like, if I'm on the first date and he happens to say one of those things that my grandmother says, run immediately from, I would rather know that up front than have to go through the whole, like 3 months later, like, yeah, I can't bring you home to grandma. Like, I'd rather know up front some stuff. But other things, like I said, like, like if you like to watch anime where the women fight with their booties, that's pretty cool. Like, you get a second date. You know what I'm saying? Like, our next date would be watching anime, obviously. But some stuff is, like, really cool to get to know. But other stuff, I don't know, maybe the deeper stuff that comes to whether or not this can be, like, a serious relationship, I can bring you home, that kind of stuff I want to know up front.
Okay. Shay, you had something there for us? What's
up? I guess I'm very much alone in this conversation because I feel like I want to know everything up front because I really don't like wasting my time. I don't want to know the line that you squeeze the toothpaste out from the middle of the thing. Like, that irks me. That's going to be a deal breaker at some point in time or another. That might just be something.
Wow.
Like, I might be badly in love with you and just, oh my God, the second time that I had to fix my toothpaste is going to be a problem.
How early are they getting to use your toothpaste?
That might be a bit extreme, and yes, we could just get separate toothpaste. But the point I'm trying to make is that there are some things, there's a long list of things that I just want to know up front so that I'm not wasting time. Like yes, I want to know you like the anime, and because if you don't like the anime, we're gonna have some serious problems in choosing what to watch if we watch things together. Also, if you don't read, that I think don't usually actually come up in regular conversation without random saying, hey, what was the last book you read? Because then when I ask the question of what was the last book you read, and you're like, see, now I sound like I'm a book Nazi or something. When I correct somebody on their use of your or your in text messaging, then I sound crazy. But if you had just asked me, maybe, hey, how do you feel about grammar? Or maybe if I had just started off the conversation with, you can't type properly, I can't mess with you. That is actually how I start most of my relationships. Like, or not even relationships, but friendships, period. Like, dude, I'm gonna need you to not use caveman speak with me, and I'm gonna actually need full words, because if not, we can't communicate because I'm not gonna get it. Like, this is how I start my relationships, and I feel like I have much more honest and open relationships that way because people know exactly what they're going to get from me. And when people don't know exactly what they're going to get from me, when people really have to question, because okay, a little crazy or a lot, but well, damn it,
Love you anyway.
what? And scene.
I get it. I get it. I in a really weird way. I'm kind of the same. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I kind of silently, note down in my head, going like, okay, this is not going to work because of this or that. When people are talking, because that's just kind of who I am in the first place. So I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. Gerard, you had something else you want to talk about real quick? Go for it, man.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like when people sit down and they meet each other and they talk to each other, they don't come with a blank slate. They come with, what went wrong in their past relationship, or, they already have this ideal person in their head when that shouldn't be the case. And that's when you start running into issues. So say, for example, you meet women that watch anime. Deal breaker for me, but I would appreciate that they did. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? But it's like, or sometimes you just assume they don't. Right. You know what I mean? And then not only that, I feel like a lot of people that come down and they talk to you, they're more interested in what they can get out of it, or they're more interested in themselves to even pay attention to what you're saying. Because if I say, yeah, I'm a fan of football, and we get in a relationship and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs in the living room in my boxers, chips flying everywhere and whatever the case may be, and you have a problem, it's like, no, I told you I was a fan of football. You know what I mean? I feel like it's levels to certain things. So I feel like you really experience it.
You set a certain standard and you expect them to understand that.
Right. Totally you would definitely expect to get it when you tell them something, but chances are they're more concerned about themselves at the time of the conversation until it affects them. So until they're picking up your chips or a cheese doodle hits them inside the head because you're just like, they won't grasp what you meant when you said you were a fan of this or a fan of that, or when you're sitting in front of your computer or your TV and literally like binge watching 5 hours of anime. And they're just like, you're still here watching. Like, yes, I told you I do this. Like, you know what I mean? I told you that I watch it a lot. They may take it as you watch it an hour a day. You know what I mean? So I feel like you should ask the right questions and not expect people to just say it, because like Rain was saying, she was basically saying like, correct people or ask people questions and they're like, oh, this girl is, a book notch. Here's something like, but about you just didn't say it first. So if that throws them off, that answers your question right away, whether you want to be with this person or not. Like if they can't answer that, or if they had a judgment about you and they didn't say it, now that's when. So you shouldn't be afraid to say something or ask the right questions, because their first response should be honesty. So if you correct my grammar and I have a problem with you correcting my grammar, if I hold it in, that's my fault. You know what I mean? I should be able to say, like, listen, I got a problem with you correcting me because I'm just texting. I'm not writing a book report. You know what I mean? So get that out the way in the beginning. Like, say what you want to say. Ask the questions you want to ask. If you're asking the right questions, then the person get the right answers. If they don't, then move on.
That's fair. Now, Jamie, as you come in with the comment you wanted to make about this, I also want to ask you a question.
Okay.
Do you think part of our issue now is that we spend a lot of time in general, not just in dating, but just in all of our relationships, in conversation, we spend a lot of time talking like past each other or past whatever it is that we really wanted to express to the other person? So,
what do you mean by past?
Well, all right. So I will use this example because it is very recent and stuck in my head because it happened recently. So I'm on this date, and it was a cool thing. We did the whole like grab drinks, and then see a movie at one of those theaters where you can like order food and drinks and stuff there.
Hmm.
Um, and we're watching a movie that we both said we wanted to see. That is a
Hmm.
at the time brand new movie. It is the first weekend this movie is out, and over the course of the movie, I was asked repeatedly questions about the movie for which I have not seen because it just came out. And I realized in that conversation over drinks and that conversation that we've been having, she wasn't hearing like the things that I was saying about like yeah, like I really like movies, like they're one of the things that I
Yeah.
relax from that like
Right.
I was expressing myself not just about, movies but just in general about who I am as a person. And it was kind of going past. Like I was pulling in the stuff she was saying. I thought I was listening and being an active listener, so I could kind of understand where she was on certain things.
Hmm.
Like we had a really cool music discussion, so like I still know all five of her top five bands. Um, but
Yeah.
but
I mean, that's exactly what I was going to talk about.
okay,
Because I was going to say a lot of times when you're meeting somebody and people tell you who they are, they tell you, show you anything, and you're sitting there looking at them. And if you're not honest with yourself and say, ooh, I don't like that, then you'll keep going. And next thing you know, it's a huge deal when you knew from date one or date two that that wasn't what you liked, and you're too busy. You're not really paying attention to them and you're not really paying attention to yourself.
yeah,
I mean, I think a lot of people get caught up in that all the time. Like, for instance, you in this movie, you told her that you liked the movie. You told her you were into the movie and you want to watch it, and she seemed like she wanted to watch it. Next thing you know, she didn't know anything about the movie, asking you questions when she should have just been sitting back and watching. But if she actually paid attention to you as opposed to, like, I don't know, wanting to have a second date, I'm not sure what her intentions were, then it would have came out differently. And I find that happens a lot, because for instance, a bunch of you have given some good examples. But my thing is I like to read sci-fi books, right?
yeah,
And I'm very particular about how I read my books.
okay,
Like, I love reading in the tub. Like, set hot water, nice book, give me something to drink, like some wine, some cookies, I don't know, and then leave me alone until I come out. And I'm pretty honest about that. I'm pretty honest. I'm like, look, I like being around, snuggling, going outside, but like around 8 o'clock, I need you to leave me alone for an hour because I'm just gonna go read my book. And I don't need you to interrupt me. If you need anything, let me know beforehand. I got you. And I tell you what, it's so annoying when I hear a knock on the door when I'm trying to read my book. And it's like they didn't listen to that. You know what I'm saying? Like they weren't listening to that's my time. And usually that's a deal breaker for me because that's like my thing. But it's the same concept. It's like you weren't listening to me. You were just like, oh, she's cool, she reads. Oh, she's cool, she reads in the tub. But it's like, no, for real, like that's my time.
they weren't listening to you. They were waiting for the next chance to talk.
I guess so.
Right.
They could wait an extra 40 minutes. It'll be all right.
Yeah. Julian, you have something you want to say about this, though?
Yeah, like touching on what both you guys were just saying there. Like I think that what you're saying is like that is like one of my things like with when I'm like talking to someone. It's like a lot of people are like, like, yeah, I like Game of Thrones. Oh, I like The Flash. Like you're talking about like the things that you like. And like what that chick did, Ruthless, was like she showed her true colors. It's like that's what her personality is. Like one of my things when I'm like on a date with someone is like if they make me cringe, like legitimately cringe too many times, like because like I don't want to sound sexist, but like if they just sound so dumb, I'm just gonna be like, ugh, like I want this to end because like I just don't feel like we can communicate really. Like with your example, Ruthless, it's like, yo, are you an idiot? Shut the fuck up and watch the movie. Clearly, I told you I have not seen this shit. Like, what are you talking about right now? I know you're talking during the movie, so you should shut up. But like that is like the meat of it really when you're on a date with someone. It's like things like that. Like that's her personality right there. That's what you're looking for, like when you're like out there on a date. So I mean, I feel like that's something that is harder to pick up on. And like, don't get me wrong, telling people what you like is a good way for people to get an idea of you. But it's also on you to pay attention to, like, in return, like what signals the person is giving you and how they're giving them to you.
Yeah. I will tell you though, real quick before we go to Roddy, real quick. There is nothing you can say on this podcast that will get you more hate mail than me. Trust me. I have walked out. I have walked out on dates before. I will probably do it again. It is well known at this point. But no, it's one of those things. Like, man, I feel like telling someone what you're into is important enough that, yeah, that you kind of like, if they cringe, okay, that's fine, that's one thing, but you kind of want them to know this kind of stuff. If it gets to the point, I think, Jamie, your example is probably the main one that I would want to hear on a like. I don't know. I personally would say the first date, but in general, on an early date, I want to know, like, yo, 8 o'clock, from 8 o'clock to 9:30, I need to leave her alone. No cell phone calls, no text messages. Let her read this book and chill. That's her time. Like, I want to know that early, because I don't want to be the schmuck that calls you. You know, the next day it's like, oh man, it's 8:30. Let me see what she's up to, and call you like, oh man, that's her time. I don't want to mess with her time. So like, in my head, that's important enough to me to be like, yo, I need to know that early, because I need to know, like, I'm stepping on your boundaries, and I don't want to do that accidentally. But that, I mean, that's the kind of person I am. But Gerard, you have something you want to say, man? Go for it.
Really quick though, Ruthless, I just wanted to say, like, just to be clear, when I say like cringing from what they're saying, it's just like the way that they would react to something. Like if I was like, yeah, I like this TV show, and they're like, yes, oh my God, I love that. It's like, yo, all right, I guess those are some good words to use to describe things you like. Jesus Christ. Just to be clear, like someone can like anything. Like that's not like, someone would really have to like push it to be like, if they were like, yo, I'm really into Nazi culture, that would be a red flag.
Yeah,
that would make me.
I'm walking. I'm not even paying the check myself. I'm walking at that point. But no, and real quick, ladies, if you end up on a date with the Ruthless Wonder, not a Ruthless Wonder, and you have a conspiracy theory about Westworld, you're gonna get a second date. Just know that you're gonna have that second date guaranteed, because that is definitely my thing when it comes to TV shows. But Roddy, you had something to say? Go for it, man.
I don't even remember where I was at, because I was, stuck mid thought, and then I was gonna respond to something that Jamie was saying about her quiet time. So people have their pet peeves and things like that. So even if I feel like, even when you're talking to somebody, especially like on the first, second, third date or whatever the case may be, like I was saying before, it's not going to matter until it interrupts something we're doing. So say for example, you said, hey, I take a shower, this, that, blah, blah, or I read in the bathtub, like you were saying, and then living room, and I'm like, oh, I gotta ask this girl a question, and I'm like going in there, I'm like, I need to know right now. I'm knocking the door, and you cuss me out. That's when it's like registered in my mind, like she's that serious about her bath time. Maybe I need to relax a little bit. Or you could be, it depends on how serious you are about it, because one interruption may not mess you up, but then when you get out, you have to remind them, like, yo,
you could have waited.
Quiet
that
time,
was not important. Like, yeah.
Right. So, and then, going back to, I think something that you said in the beginning, Matt, about, us trying to change we're in relationships with and things like that. I don't see that as a bad. I almost put up a status about this, and I know if I would put a status about it, you would probably told me to write an article on it and put it on the site, because one of the pet peeves of mine is relationship memes from people who aren't in relationships or who have been single for a very long time, or those take me as I am people. I really hate that, because we all have our core values and things like that, and things that make us us, but we all want to be happy with somebody as well. So, but I think that people don't think to themselves, okay, I've been in relationships my entire life, none of them worked, right?
Yeah.
Do people actually think to themselves, like, maybe it's something that I'm refusing to change about myself as is why it's not working? Or are you going to wait for the next 20 relationships to find that person that doesn't care about, what that one thing is? Now, I can understand if, want you to be, a stripper or something, and they want to be your pimp or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? Then obviously you don't change your morals, like the deep things that make it you. But if, burp out loud as a woman, I have a female friend who burps louder than I do and has no shame, doesn't even say excuse me. So like something like that, like you can change. It's not a take me as I am. Like you're being rude. Like you can change that about you. You know what I mean? Or you know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people are so stuck in themselves. Like the point of getting into relationships, getting to know somebody is to adjust to each other.
I was seriously under the impression that guys like that, because I've seen some things and I heard some things come out of these girls these days, and I'm like, whoa, you have a
no. That will get you the quickest. That and like farting on me or near me or where I feel the rumble or smell it. That is.
However, if done in a comedic fashion with proper timing.
Right, I'm saying that's what I said. Like if you did it and we were laughing about it or whatever case may be, it's a totally different story. But if it's like we're at dinner or something, you're just like, we're
at a nice steakhouse and you just let one go.
You didn't even look at me to see if I heard you or nothing. You're just continuing eating like, oh, it's just a normal thing. I'm just gonna stare at you like, you okay? You're like, are you sure?
You need to see a doctor?
You know what I mean?
And hospital? Right?
Was that real?
Small things like that can be changed. I'm pretty sure I do some things that I'm willing to change. You know what I'm saying? Because that get into these deep, drawn-out relationships, they were probably single for a long time before they got into relationships. So they're used to their own space. I feel like the key to long relationships is having your own space. Yeah, I know there's females that disagree because they're clingy or whatever the case may be, blah, 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 but I've never met a very clingy female who stays in relationships long.
That's an interesting thought. But
and it really comes down to, in my opinion, like two people that have been a long time, or let's say a year, or have bad relationships, whatever the case may be, they get into a good relationship, as Copa said, until they move in with each other. Now we're literally sharing our space with each other 24/7. Like when I go off into my little corner and I watch anime, if you're not an anime head, like don't sit next to me, lay your head on my shoulder and ask me a million questions. Like, no. This to you when I'm done watching this episode. Then we're going to watch the first episode of the anime and I'm going to let you watch it by yourself and then I'll explain it as we go along. But like I just feel like change is necessary.
All right, that brings me to something I'm going to ask. I didn't plan to ask this. This is an off-cuff question here. We'll start with you, Rain, on this one. How early in getting to know someone's like little personal deals, even if they were being radically honest at the beginning here, how early is too early for that stay over too many times during the week, or even straight up move in? Like, how early is too early for you guys? Shay, you first, Rain. You first.
Oh Lord.
This is a good one.
I'm going to say it really depends on the person. And the reason I'm going to say it depends on the person is because there are some things, and okay, I'm one of those really introspective kind of people. And I know myself and what it is that I'm willing to do and not do and deal with. So there are some people who I could say, okay, you know what, a year maybe. Yeah. You know, maybe a year would be enough time for such and such a kind of person to get to know me, to be able to say, yes, we can do this. And then there are those other people where I feel like we would get along and probably have a really good, long-lasting relationship if we never lived even on the same block. So it just really depends.
Okay. Oh, real quick before we go to Jamie next, this week's cigar is a La Finca from Nicaragua, and tonight's bourbon is a classic, some good Maker's Mark, classic Maker's Mark bourbon. So, Jamie, go for it.
Okay, so let me clarify. So the question is, when is it too soon to like
Yeah, like what's
have
too
somebody?
soon? Like what's too soon for you? Now, you don't have to give like a date. Obviously, Shay gave us a particular set of time, but like what's a too early point for you?
To have them spend the night, or live with me. What is? I
No,
don't understand.
where you all are spending the balance of the week at each other's place. You know that moment
Oh,
where you have like there's like that 2 weeks of like, all right, I was over there like
yeah.
5 nights, and she was over here like the last 5 nights. That always
You
happens
know,
every once in a while and whatnot.
it really depends on the person to me. And it really depends on how we're vibing. So if it's somebody who, um, like we really enjoy like texting, good mornings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Maybe after the first couple of dates, it might become more regular to see them. Like, oh, let's just watch TV together or something like that. Now, if it's somebody who's like shifty, every other morning, oh, good morning, or maybe like on the weekends, nah, I'm good. It's gonna take a little while till I figure out that's because you have like 3 other chicks you're trying to juggle, or you just gotta have to fill it out. So,
Oh, you just brought up the next question I'm gonna ask. Go for it. Keep going. Keep going.
so it really just depends on like how we're vibing. If we're vibing really well, we tend to like to spend time with each other on the weekend. Because I know for me, I'm extremely busy during the week. But if I really enjoy talking to you and really enjoy our weekend time, then that could turn into weekday time too, As long as there's that understanding that at 8 o'clock.
So listen, fellas, 8 o'clock. Don't call. Don't text. Don't Facebook message.
Right.
Don't DM.
It's not that serious. It's not that serious. It's like because it was just said, like. What if I have to like ask you something? And that's cool. It's the ones who are like, knock on the door. What's up? When you gonna be done? Oh, I told you. Like 5 more minutes, please. And then are you done yet? I would be if you wouldn't quit interrupting me. So it's like those where it's kind of like you seriously just have no respect for the fact that sometimes I need to just read a book.
All right, so Julien, you
you
got to double up here.
I want to comment on that real quick. I am the a-hole in my relationships most of the time. So things purposely, knowing that's your quiet time, like Facebook message, even though I'm sitting in your living room, like, hey, for no reason. You know what I mean? Keep it exciting. You know what I mean? It's just
but
like,
but if you're vibing, that's cool because then you just don't get beat up. That's it. All right.
But then that brings you into a whole nother aspect of your relationship that may be a great thing, like purposely bothering you for no reason. Because I know females who purposely bother people all the time for no reason. So you know what I mean?
That would be a funny thing. Like I feel like once or twice somebody doing that just to like be funny and mess with your tough time would be okay. Cause
that's cute.
See,
but like every day, come on.
Story. So Roddi and I are born and bred antagonists, so that's how it works. But Julien, I want you to answer this question, and then I want you to think about and answer the second one as well. Is it okay to openly explain to the other person that they're not the only one in that early part of dating? Like first date, you're like, hey, look, yes, I am into you, I'm here for this, but I'm also interested in seeing what this is.
I mean, like,
answer the first one and then go for the second one.
I mean, you're going to have to repeat the second question.
No, that was the second question.
Oh,
first
okay.
question was how early is too early.
Oh, okay. So, like, I mean, it all depends on, like, I agree with everything that's been said, really. Like, it all depends on how you're, like, vibing with the person. Like, if it's working out, then, like, go spend the night at their place a bunch of times in a row. Like, if you are encroaching or whatever the fucking word is, like, you're in someone's space or something like that, and you feel like they're uncomfortable, like, talk to them about it, and then, like, find a middle ground there. But if you are going back and forth, like, I think that, you should see each other as often as you want to and how often it makes you happy. But I it's so funny you asked about living together, man, because that question right there, if you can like if the answer is no to that question, like it's like when is it going to be yes? Because that's a huge deal breaker. Like that's how I knew like one of my longest relationships. I realized I was like, yeah, I never would want to live with her. Oh my god, like maybe I don't like her. Like that was like a big turning point for me. So I think that if you do see this person often and like you don't feel like they're hiding anything from you and like you really are honest with each other, I would say like a year minimum, but like preferably like know them for at least 2 years or something like that, I'd say. But like shit, moving in with someone, that's a big commitment.
Huge.
Now the second question. Yeah, you're first up with the second question.
And refresh my memory with this real quick. I think I know what it is, but just like repeat it for me real quick.
Is it okay to be radically honest with the fact that you are dating multiple people at once, first date?
Well, the word dating is a funny way to say fucking, but okay. Like,
hey, I admire the honesty. I admire the honesty there.
Like, I think that, like we were talking about going to look at people's social media, open your goddamn eyes, you know, like if a chick is like, what, like the day before, like, you know, and this is a real thing that happened to me, like a week before, like you were planning on seeing her, like she was like with someone, she's like, oh, I'm with my husband. I was like, okay. I see what type of relationship this is. I understand why you're coming over to my place and we're going to drink wine and watch a movie. I understand why that's the circumstances. And from there, you can extrapolate for yourself because, like, shit, you just got to be observant, man. Like, and you can ask those questions, but at the same time, like, they're going to be honest with you if they're sleeping with multiple people. Either that or they're being kind of dirty if they're not, like, you know, if you're not protecting yourself. Like, it's like it. I don't know, man. It's a difficult question, but I know that I went through a part of my life where I was seeing like more than one chick at the same time, and I did feel like really guilty about it until I realized that I don't owe them shit. Like they want to hang out with me, I want to hang out with them. Like I got like one mushroom on this world. Like, you know, like let's do what we got to do or want to do. Like if you find that out about me and you're uncomfortable with seeing me anymore, that's fine. But it's, I don't know. It all depends on like how far you're going to go with that person. Like if you're having casual sex with them, like it's pretty obvious. But if, you know, you're not sleeping with her and like you've gone on a couple dates with her and, you know, and then like you sleep with her and that's like a milestone in the relationship, you should be like, yeah, so I'm also kind of seeing someone else, you know, like it's nothing serious, but I just wanted to let you know that. That would be like the respectful way to approach that. But like, shit, pimping ain't easy, man. I'm just kidding.
Well, Jamie, you want to get on? Let's go for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. I mean, I think people are very different when it comes to whether they want to know or going to ask if you're dating other people. Yeah. And really, I tend to ask men if they're dating other women, especially if I like them. If I don't really like them, I'm a little different from you. It's Julien about whether dating and fucking is the same thing. Because me, they're not. They're not the same thing at all. I do have my like 30, 60, 90-day rule for that kind of stuff. But so if you say dating and fucking, we're probably not dating. But anyway, but if it's somebody that I'm serious about and yeah, I would want to know, and I want them to be honest. However, if I'm serious about them and they're honest and they tell me they're dating someone else, that's typically the end of that conversation. But so it's kind of like a answer at your own risk kind of thing. But okay. I don't know. It's
answer at your own risk, and like one thing that has stuck with me for a long time: ask at your own risk.
Ask at your own risk.
I've dated women who I would say they have had moments of being a bitch, and like you would want to know certain things, but like they will word it in like the most direct and sometimes meanest possible way. And it's sometimes you don't want to hear that, but like it is what it is. And don't ask, don't tell. That works.
Yeah, I feel you. It's you know what? And like, but when it comes to dating, I do want to know, even if it's like,
like I said, like if I was seeing someone, you know, like multiple times, taking them out and then sleeping with them was like a big milestone, you would want to tell them, because like then you're in a different type of relationship with that person.
Right. Right.
That's fair. Shay, what about you? You got anything on this one?
I'm gonna stick with the honesty is the best policy for me.
But that wasn't a question.
If I'm not taking you seriously, no. I'm answering the question.
Right.
Honesty is the best policy. So if sleeping with other people, I'm going to be sleeping with other people. Well, let me rewind.
Hold on.
Up front.
The machine
Hey,
was H
so
for a second. Go for that again.
Yeah. H and Mike.
What?
Your mic hates you, and it cut out what you were saying.
Oh, okay. I was saying, I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to be upfront, regardless of anything, even if it doesn't seem that like it's a that serious kind of thing, just because I do not believe in taking other people's choices away from them. So if you are looking for the option to be with other people or looking for the option to not be with other people, you should know exactly what you're getting into up front. So I'm going to say, yes, I'm dating or sleeping with other people. And vice versa. That's also going to be telling me how it is that I need to handle myself in this interaction, relationship, whatever you want to, call it. So if you tell me you're dating other people, I already know what my boundaries are. This is not somebody I can take seriously. Moving right along. Or this is somebody I can't take seriously. Keep going forward.
Okay.
But you have to be careful because I come across a lot that they lie. You ask them if they're sleeping with other women. No, of course not. And then like next thing you know, you get this phone call from another woman. It's kind of like, oh,
why are you texting my boyfriend?
Right. It's like we've been dating for a year. Really?
That guy who admitted that he was dating other females may be more serious about you, and you let him go because you didn't take him serious. I'm just saying.
I wouldn't say it's because I wouldn't take him seriously. And it really, like I said, it really just comes down to a case by case thing. Like if we've been dating for, let's say we've been dating for like 3 or 4 months, okay, right? And then I'm kind of like, at this point, I'm probably not dating other people if I like you. Like I'm like, okay, I really just want to date him. He's pretty much the one I like the most. And then hopefully he's reached that point too, because I'm already under the impression that guys tend to talk to at least two girls at the same time, and girls do it too. They have to at least two good guys at the same time. And if it's been like 3 or 4 months and I'm like, we kind of figure out what's going to go on here. And then you're like, well, actually I'm dating somebody else. And I'm like, well, obviously you don't really like me that much. And that's just kind of how I feel about it. It's like, if it's like the first 2 weeks, then obviously you should already know that the other person is probably other loose ends hanging on there. But after a couple months, cause I'm pretty slow about getting into relationships. So if it's been a couple of months and I'm like, we're really liking each other, we're hanging out all the time, you're spending the night, or you're dating other people, and he's like, yeah, then I'm like, well, no.
Right.
Well, already you can't actually like literally sleep in my bed if you're sleeping with other people.
Okay.
You're not
Hey, no, that's
in my bed.
That's a totally fair rule. I totally understand that. I can get with that.
Wait, so where do you do it if you're not in your bed? You in their bed?
Right.
They sleep on the couch.
Yeah, either they get up and get the fuck out, or I get up and get the fuck out. Like, there's boundaries and levels.
Okay.
There's levels to
There's levels to this shit. Woo! I love it.
Okay.
Roddi, it is time for you to begin the villain portion of this conversation. Go for it.
So the first question was.
Oh, we already answered. You already answered.
How
that
soon
one.
is?
What's the?
No, I didn't answer anything. I didn't answer any one of them. I didn't even chime in on that one. At the point where you're comfortable with saying, I don't mind seeing the crust in her eye. I don't mind seeing her walk around stink. She smells smelly, sweaty, or whatever case may be. That is when you're okay. Like I said, it depends on, like they were saying earlier, it depends on each person. But ready for some things, and then you're not ready for some things. Like you date somebody a couple times and you walk in their bathroom and they may have thrown out some tampons in the in
The bathroom trash
in their garbage can.
She's nasty.
You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like you have to understand that you're walking into their space. I mean, so if you're comfortable with being in someone else's space at that time, you like them enough being in their space, then. But just because you slept with her one time, maybe it was at your house or whatever the case may be, it's not automatically like, well, okay, I can continue to keep on doing this every day. And then you're spending the night over there. And it's like you open up the medicine cabinet and you see yeast cream and this and that. And you're just all types of things that go through your head. And you're just like, when is the last time she used this? You know what I mean? It was just like, you know what I mean? It's definitely case by case.
Are you speaking from personal experience?
Right.
It's like I feel like there's a story here that we can't tell to protect the innocent names that would pop up during it.
I'm just saying. I've the world. I've been around. I've done a lot of things that were great, a lot of things not so great. Ran into some great women, ran into some horrible women, but it is what it is. So I have a lot of opinions on most of dating and stuff like that.
So send your hate emails
what was
you to words don't do it justice at gmail.com. Care of Roddi P. No, so what was the other question? Like, and I'll add a spin to this because I'm actually answering it as well. Like, are you okay with upfront admitting that you may be dating multiple people, or that the other person admitting to you that they are dating other people during these early dates and whatnot as well? But I'm gonna give it a spin as well. Do you feel comfortable dating multiple people at once and having to let them all know that? So go for it.
It depends on the length of time that I'm dating people.
Okay.
If
like when you say dating, are you saying that like you're in a relationship with them, like that's your girlfriend and I'm her boyfriend,
or y'all just casually talking every day?
Yeah, I think
getting to know each other.
I think in that getting to know each other phase, because I think the point, I think we can kind of all agree, if you're actively in a relationship with multiple people at once, you're being dishonest to somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're an asshole.
Like when I was seeing
yourself.
multiple people at once, like I wasn't dating any of them. I had barely known them in that way for like over a month. So like I was just like having a ball being in college. Like,
well, the
college does not count.
Like, I feel like
time out.
I feel
College
like people,
does not count.
Just,
you are way too close to each other in college. People are on top of each other in dorms. College doesn't count. I'm giving
college doesn't count.
College is out.
Yo, keeping up through college a little bit.
I don't give a fuck what you say. Yo, college counted, bro. That just counted for me.
We gonna let him have college. Okay.
No, you are not considered.
So, my thing is
multiple late night study buddies during college. Oh, we about to watch this movie in my dorm room
with this bottle of wine.
Listen,
look, you already know. You want to watch a movie? You already know what that means.
Yeah, we already
already know.
Roddi, go ahead, man.
I don't know what y'all are talking about. I watched.
She's like, I'll be watching the movie.
Oh,
I learned the hard way, by the way.
This is when it comes to stuff like that. Like, if I'm just getting to know you, like I said, this is our second, third date. This is not blah, blah, blah. And you ask me, I'm just going to keep it real with you if I'm dating somebody else or if I'm talking to somebody else.
Yeah.
But one thing is just like people have to go into situations realistic. Like the chances of you looking at this woman and you saying to yourself, damn, she's beautiful. She has this going for her, this, blah, blah, blah. And you think you're the only person that can see that? And the same thing is like whatever you see in this guy that you like about it, if you think that you're the only person that can see that, you're stupid. So go into the situation knowing that you're not the only person in the world that finds them attractive or whatever the case may be, and then you just take it as you go. Because at the end of the day, however y'all found each other, if he slid in them DMs, he probably was sliding in somebody else's DMs.
Somebody else, yeah.
And if y'all both answered at the same damn time, what was the chances of him ignoring one to talk to you? And then, you know what I mean? I mean, if
better
you
at him, that's all.
have had your time, if you had your time wasted before, and your main objective when you're on social media is to find someone you like, you're sliding in multiple DMs, and you're not putting all your fruit in one basket. I mean, at the end of the day, like if you're dating someone more serious, like I feel like that should be established. Like if I'm spending the night at your house 5 days out of the week, I'm not dating someone else. Like it is too stressful. Now, have I been dating multiple people like at the same time? Absolutely. Have I been having casual sex with multiple people? Absolutely. But the majority of my time, like if I'm texting you every day and I'm over your house the majority of the days, or you're over my house the majority of the days, I feel like you shouldn't even have to ask me that question.
That just made that like, a little bit unfair, though.
What's up?
No, not at all. Because if you don't have to ask, I feel like it's straightforward.
But you just said 2 seconds ago, if you have to assume that I'm not the only person, or that's not the only person who's going to find you attractive.
I'm talking about when you first start dating, when you first meet this person, you just can't say I'm the only person in the world that can see this person. That's what I'm saying. But like if we're at it at a time, and like I said, I'm spending the night over your house, and I'm giving you the majority of my time. I have a full-time job, and I have whatever else going on in my life, and you're getting the majority of my time. Like I feel like you shouldn't have to ask me that question. Things shouldn't have to be asked. Now, if you're doing something, or if I'm doing something to make you ask that question, it's different. Like if every day I'm at your house at Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. In the last 3 weeks, I haven't been at your house for that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then you ask me that question, it's different. But if we're on the same wavelength, if we're on the same path of things, and I feel like you asking me that question is kind of disrespectful. That's how I feel.
Wow.
Shay, go ahead. You
That's how I feel, because this is
a thought out there. So, Shay, what you got? Go for it.
Right.
I mean, see, this is my issues, I guess, because I just don't trust anybody anyway. So,
right. That's what I'm saying. Like this, but this is the thing though. You can't apply formulas to people. Like because
but if you don't ask a question,
go ahead.
Like assuming anything, yes, of course, people can lie and whatever. But if you don't even bother to ask the question because you think something is a certain way, and then 3 or 4 months down the line, it's like, no, I was still dating other people. It's just I was dating you for the majority of my time because I prefer time with you. But whenever you were busy, blah, 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 blah. Like,
but that goes to
you didn't ask the question to begin with.
But if that's the guy, if that is the type of guy that you pick, or type of guy that you like, I feel like just like how you say you don't trust many people. But so if you don't trust many people, you have to be an analyzer. If you're 4 or 5 months in and this guy is spending the majority of time with you, and you can't analyze him enough to know that he's not that type of jackass, then that is a fault of yours. It's because there is no way. There is no way.
I agree with you to a certain degree, but it's only in the way of like, so for example, like someone like I'm currently seeing like, how do I put this simply? We ain't talking. Okay. So like if that goes on for a while and then she gets mad that like I'm also taking someone out on dates, but I haven't slept with her and she gets mad about that, it's like, yo, we weren't talking. That's clearly what you weren't in this for. So like people set the standards with each other like that. Like it's
right. And that's what I mean. And like, unless she has a, like now, if you guys aren't talking for a certain amount of time, like she has a reason to ask you that question. But like I said, if it was like a consistent thing, I had this consistent thing, and there were no breaks in the pattern at all. And I'm taking you out on dates, and I'm spending my money on this, and she's spending her money on me, and I'm spending the night over there 4 days out of the week. I'm like, you should have no doubt in your mind. So the fact that you asked me that question, I'm gonna be like, okay, well, what do you have going on that made you want to ask me that question? You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that far into dating, I feel like that wouldn't even cross my mind. Like, okay, so the last serious relationship that I about 1.5 years, like we started, like she ended up being my girlfriend without even have to say you're my girlfriend. Spent the majority of my time. I spent the majority of my time with her. The majority of my time talking to her. Spent the night with her multiple nights out of the week. You know what I mean? She had a son, so her son was like calling me, FaceTiming me when I wasn't there. Like basically potty trained him. You know what I mean? There's certain things like you just let it roll. Like, you know what I mean? You don't throw wrenches into the plan. Like I don't know. Your time and this and that, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, you get what I'm saying? You don't know. Like, you don't want to cut it off too soon either. Signals, whatever the case may be, that will cause somebody who's full in with you to start questioning. And I feel like that's not what you want to do.
All right, Shay, go for it. Give me your response. I want to hear what your thoughts are.
I mean, I think these are valuable things to think on, and that is where I am at this point.
So I have been on, like, I mean, obviously I kind of didn't dab in it earlier, but I have been the asshole, I've been the player, I've been the cool gentleman, I've been throughout the different stages of my life. I've been the worst kind you want to be with, been the best kind you want to be with. I've been, I've broken hearts, I've had my heart broken, like I've been up, down, left, right, whatever you want to call it. So this is why. So when you go into a situation and you're talking to somebody, you know what I'm saying? You can't bring those past experiences with you into the conversation. Now, you can analyze them using those things, but you just can't assume this is what it is because of that. So if you had a guy who spent the majority of his time with you, invested his time, invested his money, and what his energy and all that, and he did some foul shit, like, you can't say the next guy who's doing all this and that, blah, 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 is doing the same thing.
But see, if it works that way in one direction, why doesn't it work that way in the other?
What do you mean? Explain.
If I can't assume that one guy is doing the same thing that the other guy is doing, why should I assume or not assume that the other guy isn't doing whatever? Like, it should work both ways, is what I'm basically saying.
Well, what the thing is if you're not giving him the benefit of the doubt, if you're worrying about something, you're not living in the moment. You're not enjoying the journey that you're supposed to enjoy getting to know somebody, because you're too concerned about what can go wrong.
Well, see, this is okay. Wait, let me back up here.
Sure.
Not be that I'm worried about anything. The assumption should be that I'm just going to assume and move forward with my own assumptions anyway, or not assume anything, which is even, and move forward anyway. So my general assumption, so to speak, if we're going to go with assumption, or people are flawed, enjoy it while it lasts, and move forward from there. I'm to assume you're doing everything wrong. I'm not going to assume that you're doing everything right. I'm just going to say, feels good. I'm going to enjoy this.
So your philosophy basically is ride the wave and just see where it goes.
Right. As it should be. As it should be.
That's fair. That's entirely fair. Jaime, you wanted to make a point here?
Yeah. I kind of agree with like both of them in a sense, but I do also understand the whole, like, if you ask me if I'm dating somebody else, but we've been like spending a lot of time together,
right?
Two thoughts are gonna go through my head. One, like, what the hell? Like, are you kidding me? Like, you know, at that point, you probably know my schedule pretty much. So I'm like, when can I do this? And then two, like, did you find somebody that you thought was interesting? Is there somebody that you think is interesting out there? You know,
Who you dipping in on?
right? Like, why is it crossing your mind? Especially if you've reached that point. Because the whole, like, I know this began with, would you feel comfortable asking or telling somebody you're dating somebody else? And the whole, if we've been really kicking it really hard for the past, I'd say like 2-3 months, it's probably never, it's safe to assume that we're not dating other people. Only time it would even cross my mind is if you did kind of go ghost. You went ghost, or you start doing like really shady stuff, and it's like, oh, what's going on? You know? Other than that, I wouldn't even question it. Now, and if I got questioned, then I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, what do you mean? Am I dating somebody else?
See, that's that's the weird thing about this conversation. Like, I feel like, and not that you guys have gotten on sides here, but I feel like to a degree, I really understand what you all are saying, and it's like, to suddenly be asked after you've been spending all this time and putting all this effort into the relationship, are you seeing someone else? Seems like an attack on your credibility. But I also get what Shay's saying, like, you can't assume that things are as serious for the other person as they are for you. And so you kind of have to ask, like, yo, is it just us now? Like, because,
but like,
but, I mean,
to a certain degree,
you don't have to say, is it us?
Yeah, it can be obvious, like, what type of relationship you have, like, with that person. Like, if you're seeing them multiple times a day, you know, or multiple times a week, and like this goes on for a long period of time, that's looking like you're gonna date them and be in a relationship with them. But it all depends on what the standards are set for the relationship. Like the relationship that I gave an example of before, like that's clearly like a friends with benefits example. And if it was to move on and to go somewhere else, there would have to be a conversation about it. Like, period.
and then you really just ask, like, you don't ask, are you dating anyone?
Somebody else? Yeah.
You can be like, you know, what are we doing? Because we're spending a lot of time with each other.
Right.
You know, I'm starting to like you more. You're starting to like me more.
What are we?
What are we doing? Like, don't be afraid to ask.
Hold on. I have to express a personal pet peeve here. That question of what are we doing? Oh,
I hate that question.
I hate that. What are we?
Because it's asked at the worst times. Like, it's like, we're naked in bed. We're fucking right now. Okay. So next topic, bender. Like, what's going on?
Because I feel like people get lost in the relationship sometimes. Like, you know what I mean? They get lost in what they're doing. So if I've been single for 2 years, and then all of a sudden I'm spending like 70% of my time with this woman for like the last 6 months. And then you just one of them days you wake up and you're like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what really am I doing right now? And then you just want some answers. So you go to her and you say,
it's like, what are we doing?
What are we doing? It's like just reaffirm.
You done woke up
this is reality,
late, and she done cooked you breakfast and said, yo, what's going on here?
What is this? What is it?
Breakfast.
Breakfast.
Breakfast. Well, that's eggs.
I don't know.
That question is like the best way to get me to be like, absolutely nothing.
What?
Say that again.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm just really weird like that.
No,
I do not like that question. I feel like you're trying to trap me.
You don't like what? I didn't hear you.
I don't know how to answer.
We literally couldn't hear you.
That question.
Right. What'd you say? We couldn't hear you. Like, you
The question of what are we doing will literally make me be like, absolutely nothing. And
I don't understand.
Hey, you know what?
I don't understand.
And I would have been like, word. See, this is,
like,
and as
if you want to know.
As far as I come, like, if your emotions wasn't invested into it, I would have walked away. You would never heard from me again.
Yeah, that would have been.
And I wouldn't have cared. I wouldn't have cared. I wouldn't have gave you no explanation. I'd have been like, "Where are we not?"
See, so 1 second it's you guys are like, yeah, you shouldn't even have to ask. And then in the next, it's, well, if you answer like that, I don't even care anymore.
Well,
right.
Questions you're asking.
It just
Where-
feels like
where-
it feels like it's double sided there, because it's like, one, you want to be upfront and honest, so it's like, let me know. And then when you do ask, you know, get the courage to say, you know, what are we? Are we together? What is this? And then you give a tart answer. Then it's like, well,
Okay.
well, damn, you know.
But, all right, and let me step in on this one. Could it simply be the way we ask stuff like that? Because I get, like I said, I get really annoyed by the what are we doing question. But if it comes in the right way, I'm all right with it. Like, if you were to say to me, all right, Matt, we've been doing like some really serious time with each other here. Are we going somewhere with this, or is this just us having a really good time with each other? Like that, I'm entirely cool with.
That's a much better question.
At that point, I'm just like, well, all right, let's talk about this. You have an emotion and feeling about this. I have an emotion and feeling about this. Let's be adults and have this conversation, and let's determine what we are. But don't ask me.
But it depends on. It honestly depends on the relationship. Like I feel like two serious ass people will literally sit down and have that conversation. I don't want to sit down and have that conversation. Like I feel like if I've been dating you for 5-6 months, you know that sometimes I can be a goofball. You know what I mean? We have fun, this and blah, blah, blah. And you may walk in one day and I'd be like, oh, since you're my girl now, and we didn't have the conversation at all. And just to see the look on your face. Like, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be awkward. Like that conversation should not be awkward. Like I feel like after 6 months, you should know that person enough, or they should know you enough to look at each other and be like, how to go about this question.
Yeah.
If they know that you're awkward, and you ask that question and you ask it awkwardly, they know how to respond, whether it's a way that you want it to be or a way that you don't want it to be. Like it can go both ways. But it doesn't have to be, so last night I was thinking about something and I wanted to sit down and just have this conversation. Do you mind talking to me? Or
I'd rather you just be like, what are we? I'd rather hear that.
Jamie,
I'm cool with that. That doesn't bother me.
Gave it to her. All right.
What are we kind of bothers me. I'm not gonna lie. It kind of bothers me. It depends on the situation.
No one says
like, what do you mean?
The right way. That's just what it is. Like
it doesn't bother me though. And I guess I've never been in a situation where it was annoying. Whenever it was asked, it was always like
most people don't know how to answer that question, because when you're dating someone, you don't want to hear we're friends. You don't want to hear we're friends with benefits.
But then that goes back to the whole like, should you be honest?
Thing is though, because most females.
Yes, you should totally be honest. Hold on.
Listen.
I gotta
guys use.
You
guys
totally
use,
need to be honest. You need to be as honest as fucking possible. So if you got some dude that you are legitimately asking this question, and you know you got somebody else, and he comes back with, what do you mean, what are we? I'm the side dude that you fuck with when your boyfriend's fucking up. Like, you need to be ready for whatever's going down here right now. And I feel like we aren't honest enough about that part of it to get to the question. And that's why the question annoys me so much. Because any person is just asking you, what are we? Not, hey, yo, we got to this point.
Right.
I don't want to overinvest and you ain't into this. I don't want to underinvest and you are into this. What's going on? Like what have we gotten to now? What are we doing here? Like that's
it sounds like y'all have been in situations that I've never been in.
Jamie,
but depending on how you're willing and how bold you are to say it, you have to be willing to get a bold answer back. Most females do not want to hear we're friends with benefits.
And most dudes don't want to hear
unless it started that way.
You're my boyfriend. Like
yeah, right. Unless it started like she has a man and she cheated on her man with you. Like that's straightforward what you guys are. Like I feel like you shouldn't even have to ask that question. But most of the time, if you're dating a girl and that's exactly what you guys are, friends with benefits, they don't want to hear that you're friends with benefits.
So it sounds like it's split, because like I said, I haven't, obviously you guys have been in situations I've never been in. And I've never asked the what are we question. I've always had it asked to me.
See, I've had that question asked to me to someone I was already dating. It's like, shit, she's trying to pressure me to move in. Like,
right.
Like,
listen, I've never
asked that question. I've never
asked that question.
And
I've never asked that question.
Either,
Like,
They
had
should
the
have like a
conversation.
Congressional Medal of Honor for never asking that question.
I've never asked a question. I've had men ask me,
Seriously.
"What are we?" And it doesn't bother
Seriously.
me. Seriously, I've never asked that question.
Because I tend to move slow and let things happen the way they happen. So if you have questions, I'm not gonna answer your questions without you asking them. So I usually don't say anything. And then they usually ask me first every single time. I've never had to ask that question.
See, I've never had to either. It's always been asked to me. And it never bothered me when they asked me, because I'm like, to me, when they ask me that,
are you rushing me?
It's never bothered me.
I always felt like obvious, meaning the question shouldn't have been asked.
I have asked it twice when I was honestly
you're
confused.
asking it too early. Like you're pressuring me or pushing me into whatever. Like I feel like when you asked that question, you had an idea in your head of what you wanted my answer to be already. Right. So this question exactly that way. Yeah. This is fireworks. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Yeah, like that, and that's kind of my thing. Like, I've asked it twice in my entire life. I was honestly confused in both times because I was like, "Yo, I don't know what the fuck's going on here. Let me actually ask this and see what the hell's happening." In the one case, it went entirely left, and we're just gonna pretend that never happened. That and the other time, like, yeah, we actually had some shit that we needed to talk about, and it didn't end in my favor because I'm still single. Shout out to everybody living a single life. # no babies.
Hey.
But that, like, I feel like sometimes it is necessary, but it's extraordinary circumstances. Like, I don't think that you need to ask it in a "what are we." You need to ask it in like a "yo, I'm investing a lot in this, and I think you are too. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page." Like, I feel like that's the way to deal with it. But I want to get us to our last thing before we get out of here, because we've had a great conversation. I'm loving that you guys have come on. I want to ask this because it's something that we that came up in our unscientific words don't do it justice experiment many years ago, and it's something that I want to ask each of you. And if you want to tell the story of your situation, fine. If you don't, fine as well. Online dating is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. Everybody at some point has had a profile on something or gone on an app for something. How honest about yourself, about your not necessarily like your whole life story on your profile, but how honest about yourself and what you're looking for, both relationship wise and person wise, are you in your online dating profile? And do you feel like people in general are more honest or less honest? I'm actually gonna start with Julien on this one too.
I feel like, I don't know. I mean, it goes both ways, like as in both sexes, but like people are very often not honest with their pictures, I think. Like, just to get that out of the way, like that's an obvious one, right?
Yeah.
Like but I don't know, man. I try to put as much of myself into those things. Like, for example, like when I'm writing my Tinder profile, like I just try to fit in as many jokes as possible, like just trying to talk about myself. Like, one of the things I think I have written on there is like the last thing, and sometimes I have a car with all 4 wheels, like, so that says I have a car sometimes. And like, I don't know, like it's honest. Like, so that's just the key to everything. It's just like, just put what you want to be known out there, and just know that it could come back to bite you in the butt if you don't like put it out there right. But I feel like if you're not honest, like, and you with that, and when you meet the person and they ask about that and you can't like follow up with it correctly, then you're SOS. Like, you're SOL. You're shit out of luck.
Okay. Rain.
She there?
Shay, you there?
Mute button, sorry. I'll just be the broken record here and go with I'm as honest as I possibly can be. I really a whole life story, but I basically say I at least give people the opportunity to not fuck it up on the first interaction with, please use complete sentences. That's all I ask. Like, at least start with that. Complete sentences, please.
So this complete sentences is important, people. Oh, Jamie.
When I first tried online dating a while back, I was like really honest about all the things I like, because if you don't like what I like, or if you don't know the things I know, I didn't realize that I didn't think it would go anywhere. But now I don't do any of that. So I'm really honest about how tall I am. 5'3", I'm a Libra, and those kind of things, right? I don't smoke. I don't have kids.
Great height.
So, but other than that, I don't even fill out the other stuff. I don't.
So she's.
I don't even fill it out.
Profile.
You know what? It doesn't matter. I've noticed that people who tend to reach out to me on those dating websites don't even read my shit. They don't read my shit.
And them not reading your shit says a lot about them, though, doesn't it?
It does. Hence the reason why. I mean, there's no point in me even putting it up.
But vice versa, though, if you have nothing there, they have nothing to go off of to start a conversation. So it goes both ways.
It's based off of experience.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that, like, when I'm on Tinder just swiping through and I click on someone's picture, if they don't have anything written there, I mean, Tinder's a specific case. I usually just think that's spam. Like, they matched with someone earlier and they have nothing written in their profile, and I messaged them. I was like, yo, are you real? Like, because if nothing's written there, it's like it doesn't seem like they even give a shit enough to be there. But that's a specific case.
That is a specific case. But I typically don't have that. When I did have stuff up, and I put forth the time and thought, and then people weren't reading it. They just wanted to say hi, or you're beautiful, or blah, blah, blah. I'm like, thanks, but that's it, you know? So then I just stopped putting in the effort. And not to mention that I get so overwhelmed with on those dating apps or whatever. I only keep them for like a month. Then I get overwhelmed and cut it off. But yeah, I don't put that much stuff up there. So I guess you could say I'm only honest about those prerequisites that they ask you that you have to fill out. And I'll leave it at that.
That's fair. That's entirely fair. Roddi, sit your back. Go for it.
I don't know what was the question.
Do you think people are generally honest or generally dishonest with their profiles? And two, how honest are you and how forthcoming are you with your online profiles for dating stuff?
I believe for dating stuff, people are genuinely. I don't think they're dishonest. I like the good things about them. You know what I mean? I don't think they're dishonest. Well, there's some, but generally, I think just people just highlight they think other people would like about them. Me, I don't get into details enough. You know, I put enough to get you to want to actually talk to me. If you don't want to talk to me, then it's kind of your loss. How I look at it, because I'll just say, you know, something randomly. I don't fit into any category. Like, you can't fit me into a jock, nerd, blah 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 stereotype. I am blah blah blah. Graduated from questions.
All right, I gotta go back.
That's a lot more than I've seen on most people's profiles. Way more than me.
I gotta go back and ask one thing to Jamie real quick before you continue, Roddi. No, I gotta ask this one question.
Some of my
Jamie,
profiles.
Do you list your profession?
I used to, but
not anymore.
Not anymore. I just say have a higher degree.
You know, just to touch on like being honest, like I'm thinking about like my personal experiences. Honestly, when it gets to like the part of the conversation, like if you've been talking to someone long enough about like meeting up, I'm very honest. Like this part of like at this moment in my life, it's like, hey, I just graduated. I live with my parents. Okay. So like that's something you need to know like immediately. Like hiding that would backfire like so hard. So there's certain things like you don't want to hold back like that.
Well, some of the things in my profile for maybe about 4 or 5, I had to omit, or conversation I had to omit until I actually was really interested in the person, because I mean, it may be the same reasons as like Jaime stopped mentioning her profession or whatever the case may be, but if I said, I live in such and such city and I am roommate with an NFL player, I'm this, I'm that, and blah, 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 blah. I feel like people would have just been hitting me up and not actually been interested in who I was, but just more of the things that I was doing. Just as a disclaimer, so I have family member that's in the NFL. So my life for about 4 or 5 years was extremely interesting. So I couldn't just, I would be in the club and I listened to him tell females that he was a construction worker. and at the time,
He's told me the story. That's why I'm laughing. I'm not laughing at the idea. I'm just like, I legitimately have heard the story. It's hilarious.
Right. So you would think that, a lot of quote unquote meatheads or whatever you want to call them, or professional athletes, they'll be like, yeah, I'm this, that, and I'm that person and this and that, yada, yada, yada. Like, he would like legit lie. And it was to the point to where I had to go along with the story every single time, no matter what he said.
And that totally makes sense, because clearly that guy's woke as fuck, and he knows that, like, like, people be trifling, like they're gonna fucking want something out of him.
Right. Exactly. So good 4 or 5 years, I was Joe Schmo, dropped out of college, and either you want to get to know me or you don't want to get to know me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I lie about it. I lie for sure. Like, I don't know if I'm ruthless. Now I teach at university, and I tell people, if they, what do you do? I say, I teach. That's all I say. I don't say like I'm a professor. I don't say any of that shit, because that tends to turn the conversation usually not in my favor. I don't know what goes through a man's brain when they're like, oh, you're an attorney and a professor? What the fuck? So I'm like, I teach, and I leave it at that.
But I think
that's one of those interesting things, though, because in the way that Roddi, your cousin, had to basically essentially say he's not in any way associated with his actual profession because people would just want stuff. I feel like for women, and this is part of the sexism in our society, I feel like that is one of those things. Like, you have to kind of not refer to your profession if you have, like, Jaime, you saying that you don't feel that you're an attorney and a professor. Like, yeah, because some dudes are just like, I don't want to talk to her. She's too smart for me.
Yeah, it's too much. And I'm like, ugh. But everything else is cool. Like, we like anime. We like to hang out. But it's like, but that's too much. Well, get your ego right.
I feel like you, for that reason, you shouldn't take that part off of your profile. Like, you're gonna
weed out the weak ones,
right?
Yeah,
and they may come less often, but you will waste your time less as well. You know what I mean? Because I feel like you ever go across somebody's profile and they put a phrase from whatever one of their hobbies are or whatever, or from their favorite movie quote, and it was like, if you don't know this phrase, don't message me.
Don't talk to me. Yeah.
I was like that, especially when I know the phrase. Like, you get what I'm saying? Because I'm thinking about everybody who probably don't, and it's like, now I feel like I'm qualified to have this conversation with this person.
Now
like, you get what I'm saying? So right. So if they don't feel like they're qualified to have the conversation for you, that saves you a ton of time. Like, you know what I mean? So that leaves, I feel like you should actually add that. Now, people like, oh, she's a cat, she's an attorney, this and that, blah, blah, blah. I'm definitely going to talk to her. So you're still going to get idiot.
Waste of time. It's a catch-22. Right. That's why it doesn't really matter to me. It does, because like,
but the thing is, though, if you put a profession, that puts you in a position to say to them, what do you bring to the table? So they're either going to lie about it, or they're going to tell you the truth. You know what I'm saying? So when you are upfront about, your experiences, what you've gone through in life, et cetera, blah, 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 and where you at currently, they'll stop talking to you. If they feel like they match up, they'll continue talking to you. If they're just going to see how far they can get, you know what I mean? It really comes down to how you analyze people.
It's really, it's just a difficult.
It's a game.
It's very difficult. So
the entire
either
thing
way,
is a game.
Hold on. What were you saying, Jamie? You were saying something?
I mean, either way, like, instead of saying what I truly am, and saying, well, I'm an educator or I'm a teacher. And then they're like, okay, cool. And then they find out, like, wait, you teach at university? And it's like, oh, well, crap, I go to school there. And then next thing you know, you don't hear from them. Okay, well, damn. But if I say, oh, yeah, I'm a professor over there. And they're like, cool. And then they're taking you out. And then all of a sudden you get the little comments like the comments try to, like, bring you down to earth when it's like, when I'm already down to earth. Like, you don't got to bring me down to earth. I walk on this ground. And
But the thing is, what are you losing?
I don't lose anything. But this is the point. This is the
You
point.
lose so much time.
But this is the point. Either way,
not really.
It's a
I enjoy it. I enjoy, like, right away who's gonna waste your. I don't care what nobody say. Right away who's gonna waste your time. But something. Well, I can only speak for guys. Guys would be like, okay, this girl's gonna waste my time. But you know what? She's cute. Well, let's see what happens. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's two separate experiences.
I'm gonna let Julien get in real quick here. Julien, go for it, man.
I mean, it's funny because, like, you guys are talking about withholding information. Like, that's fucking fascinating to me because, like, I'm thinking back to so many times where I went into a bar. I was like, I can't fucking wait to brag about this. Like, I remember when I had, like, this job that I really loved, and I loved, like, bragging about it because, like I was saying before, it's all about selling yourself, and I knew how to sell myself with that, and I love that. Like, it goes back to, like, being honest. Like, I love, like, telling you what I am about, and like for example, like when Monkey with a Gun was in production, like I was all fucking about it, like, because I was on fucking cloud 9 doing that. I thought that shit was badass. So, like, there's no part of that I'd want to hide. Like, even if I was worried if they were like offending them or something, about their beliefs, I wouldn't be like, yeah, I'm working on, a short film. It's like, nah, I'm working on a short film that was inspired by the events that happened to Trayvon Martin. And if you have a problem with that, like, please tell me, let's talk about it. Like, I always think that, like, you should whip it out and slam it on the table, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Like that should be.
I don't really have anything to whip out, but
the Wrath of Ruthless is not condoning you whipping it out and slapping it on the table in public.
I just felt like with me, I felt like with me, I was always stuck in a weird position because outside of, let's say, online dating and things like that, I'll be, we'll be out or mingling with females, blah, blah, and everybody I'm with is, CEOs or, executive this or NFL players or basketball. And then they get to me, oh, what do you do? Well, you know what I mean? It's like,
and that's a challenge, dude. You're totally right, but it's all about selling yourself. You got to find out what works for you. Like, you got to find your strengths. Like, when I'm saying metaphorically whip it out on the table, it's like, yo, man, you got some cards up your sleeve. You gotta, if you don't, go buy a deck, man, because, like, you can't, like, just have no experiences and just, like, think that you'll be hot shit. Like,
but
you gotta have somewhere to come up.
I feel like that's a male thing. I mean, we have another girl on the line here, and she can correct me if she thinks I'm wrong, but I just feel like that's a guy thing. I mean, you guys are always trying to be like, I have a nice car, I have nice shoes, you try to have a watch on. Like, you're always trying to.
I'm not talking about, like, let me be clear. I'm not talking. I think there's a difference between, like, there's a different way to sell yourself and, like, being, like, materialistic in a way. Like, be like, man, I'm fucking loaded. Like, that's gonna appeal to someone in a different way.
Show your value at its highest
show
point.
Yourself.
At a time. Well, and I agree with that. But all I can say is like the way I handle how I present myself is based off experience. You know, it's based off of, oh, well, that's gone wrong like more than once. And so you change it up. And then that worked a little better.
Can I say something?
Yeah, I was waiting. I would say, come on, Shay, go for it.
So I understand. I would love to be at her level, like, whoa, lady boner, but also very heterosexual, just gonna throw that out there. But
yes, lesbians, you still can't have Shay. All right, chill.
But just at my level of regular old college degree, well, or two, and really literal and really logical and all this other stuff, just opening my mouth sometimes puts me at a disadvantage with half of the male population that I deal with. And it's not, it is that she might not want to say, yes, I'm a lawyer and yes, I can school you, because automatic.
I'm glad you feel me. I'm glad you feel me.
Yeah, I understand. But okay.
But the thing is, though, who cares? Like,
hold on, 1 second. I understand, but I definitely mean to negate everything I just said. You have to lower yourself to be with somebody. They're not worth it anyway.
Oh, that's different though. It's not a lowering myself, because I cannot be any less than what I am. But at the initial meeting, there's so many other things about me that I'd rather a person know and judge me off of and decide if I'm worth, I wouldn't say worth, if I'm somebody they would be able to mesh with and vibe with, than to be immediately turned off by where I stand, like economically or socially. I feel like they never even get to that point because they're like, oh, well, I'm not good enough, or maybe she's too, I don't know, bougie or something. When it's like, you don't know. You'll never know.
And here's
but the
where,
thing is,
here's where I hop in as the different person in this conversation. Because
feel that way anyway.
Not only did, in law school, I always listed that I was a law student. Not to brag either. It was just one of those like, yo, I don't have time. That is, and all of you, Julien, you haven't known me as long, but all of you know, I generally speaking don't have a lot of time. How we pull off any of the stuff that we do now is a minor miracle. But I would always say like, yo, I'm a law student. I have a ton of things that I have to work on constantly. I don't necessarily always have time, so I'm not ignoring you. But I'm just busy. And as when I went to, when I finally, passed the bar and started practicing, it was like, yo, I'm telling you this not because I'm trying to brag to you, not because I want you to be interested in me because of my profession. I want you to know because I am being honest about how little space there is for my personal life, but I still want to try. And I feel like that's not everybody's thing. And I do feel like the majority of people on internet dating, well, not just internet dating, but all dating apps are being somewhat dishonest in their profiles, whether it's about what they're really looking for. I've seen way too many profiles of people saying, both men and women, people saying that they are into something basically because they know that that's something popular and they can hook up with more people that way. So many people saying like, I'm just interested in friends with benefits. I don't want to have any attachments, blah, blah, blah. And like, 2 weeks later, they call you every 15 seconds. Like there's a fundamental dishonesty, not necessarily with, with the other person that they're going after, but fundamental dishonesty about who they are in those ways that could actually tank a relationship fairly early on. Because if you're looking for boyfriend Matthew Elisha Williams from Grandview, Missouri, that's different than, hey, you sound like a cool person. I want to go hang out, and if we have sex, we have sex. Like you're not looking for. These are two different veins. Don't pretend to be the one that I say that I'm interested in. You can hopefully change me into the other one. And that's always been my thing. Like I've always struggled with that issue of, all right, are you saying you like this and you're down with this because that's who you are? Or are you saying this because you think, well, he's a lawyer and he's got to be loaded, so let me say this so that maybe I can sneak my way into being this person? and I can smell that shit like a shark in the ocean. So that's always been one of those things that bothers me. And yeah, I'm brutally honest. Uh, Shay, you were there for the experiment. The profile that's my actual profile is extremely honest about how much you are not getting past a certain point anytime soon, and that's just what it is. Like, that's the life. And I feel like that's you know that kind of honesty. Circling us back to the beginning here, that kind of honesty is kind of what we need, not just in the way we approach other people, but in actually date these other people. It's like, yo, I'm looking for this. Are you really looking for this? Can you really handle this? Or are you looking for something else? If you're looking for that something else and I feel like changing, cool, but I'm not going to draft you into my way of thinking, and you shouldn't try to draft me into your way of thinking. That's just kind of always been my thing about it.
Yeah.
I've always been
really handy,
the
I
person.
feel, if people just believed you when you speak.
Yeah, well, I tell people all the time I'm exactly what you think I am, but they don't believe me.
See, I can't say that. I can't use that line because people typically don't know who I am unless they get to know me, because they judge or they make an assumption off the front. Like off the front end. And even Ruthless, even you, when I first met you in law school, like I think we didn't actually end up like getting to know each other until we went on that study abroad.
Yeah.
And that's when you were like, wait, you like anime? Wait, you like this? Wait, and it wasn't until like we actually got to sit down and like spend time and eat and stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So even if I said
walk halfway up to heaven itself, up the hills of San
right,
Lorenzo,
trekking up mountains just to find us something to eat, you know what I'm saying? So like I couldn't even use that
we walked
line.
up 1,000 feet in elevation just to get shawarma. Like,
was it good shawarma
Yeah, no.
though?
It really was good. But I was dying.
I mean, at that elevation, shawarma should be pretty great because you're already fucked up from the air. But whatever.
Yeah, we were pretty done, and I think it was like the only restaurant open.
Yeah.
But but you see what I'm saying though? Like I can't say like what you see is what you get, because that's not true in my case. And I guess say it's just everybody's different, but it's just not true.
I feel you. All right, so we're gonna get out of here on some last thoughts because we have gone even longer than I planned to for this one. But it was so good. I was like, I gotta keep this going. This is too good. I gotta keep going. I was addicted. I want to get you guys out of here with final thoughts. Real simple question. Better idea. Simple question. Better idea. Every online dating app has to be hooked to your Facebook profile, or the person looking at your profile can also see the last 2 years of what you've tweeted.
Nah, bad idea.
Pick whichever one you like more. You got to pick one. Pick whichever one you like more. And Jaime, you first.
I'm gonna say Twitter because I don't tweet like that.
Can I go off of that one? Because I think
Julien,
I got
go
a pretty
for
good answer. I would fucking put Twitter on there, and I would put the praise be the fast one Twitter, because I don't even run that. I honestly don't even tweet most of the stuff, but that is just so goddamn weird that if they're cool enough to be curious about that weird ass shit, then I know that they're all right. Praise be the fast one.
Praise be the fast one. Roddi.
I'll say Twitter because I'm not on Twitter like that either. 2 years ago, they might find some interesting stuff. But the thing is, though, my Instagram is connected to my Twitter, so they'll see pictures and shit like that. But besides that, talking shit to the locals or me posting about music, it's not gonna be. They're not gonna have any insight at all whatsoever.
Interesting.
Actually, have to talk to me to get that.
I'm going to follow suit and also go with Twitter. And it's absolute certainty that they're not getting anything off of my Twitter.
I'm not.
No insights, no clues. I think I only just now added a picture what, a week ago?
Wow. I'm risky. I'm going with Facebook. Number one, I have two Facebooks, but so like you can. I might link to the All Professional Matt Williams Facebook.
So you're gonna give him the professional?
Yeah, I'll say I might give him the professional. Like, but no, really, like I feel like it would be a benefit for everybody to have to show themselves in some fashion. Who they really are when they are when they're being boring. And I feel like Facebook.
You know what? Let me say this, because I feel like it should be said, at least in my case. My reticence has more to do with really, really, really real version of me on Facebook.
Right. Fair enough. That's fair.
I don't want anyone to be able to find me if I don't like them.
That's fair. I
this
totally
is
get that.
my idea behind it for Facebook is basically have a presumption of certain people when they see things without talking to them first. So, like, say for example, kids or people who have, I've been judged like, okay, black guy with braids or black guy with dreads, there's no way he knows something about this, or there's no way he made it this far in life doing this. So, you know what I'm saying? Take what I put on my profile, talk to me, and then you get to Facebook and then et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, my Facebook isn't like Matt's Facebook, so you're not gonna get on my Facebook and be like, do I really want to mess with this guy? He's like making an enemy of the world right now. It's like, do I really want to be his sidekick and just literally nuking the place? But
listen, ladies,
I feel like
my
mine,
sidekick, because you will survive
You survive.
You will survive by being on my side.
The apocalypse.
Join the villains. We're going to win.
But yeah, that's how I just feel like that don't know me even off my Facebook posts. Like, you really still don't know who I am off my Facebook posts. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I post some knowledgeable things. A lot of times it's just me BS and I'm bored, or whatever the case may be. Like nah.
That's fair. All right, folks. Well, we're gonna get on out of here, guys. It was great to have you guys on. Julien, welcome to your first time on the Wrath of Ruthless.
Dude, my cherry popping was so great. I loved every second of it.
Jaime, great to have you back. We got to do this more often. Roddi, Rain, I miss y'all. I love y'all. It's been a great journey. We got to do some more. Folks, we will be, of course, putting this episode up, but also I want you guys to check out all of the anniversary podcasts. Of course, we've got three folks from Geek Street Radio coming on, some folks from the Midnight Chat Attack as well, besides Julien, and we're going to be doing some founder chat with me, Roddi, and Ronan, but we're also bringing on a couple special guests later on during the anniversary celebration, so please look out for those special episodes, and maybe some interesting news for ye old blog site, as it were, for Everybody 314 Publishing, Imperial Dreams Productions, Words Don't Do It Justice, Weekends Don't Do It Justice, WeekendLife.com, Just Press Play, everybody that we stream, including Van and Amun, and of course, the revanchist himself, Chris Hines. I am the Ruthless Wonder, not a Ruthless Wonder. You've been listening to The Wrath of Ruthless, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Praise be the fast one.
Bye.